No. My name, first of all, our main question was, does including personal narratives serve students in the PACE math sequence by building better connections with students? Naima Asgi is not here, not able to be here today, but she was involved. I'm Kathy Weber, and Elizabeth Termoni also was involved in doing the research. We struggled with the following two things in trying to come up with our research. I'm trying to be a little creative.
That was awesome. Math is
How do we measure? How do we actually do the measurements? How do we collect the data, measuring the connections with students? And don't eat while you're watching. How do we measure the effect of the personal narratives that they're writing? Those were two kind of interesting things we had to come up with. So we looked at the existing research to see if we could find anything out there, writing personal narratives dealing with math. We found Understanding Mathematics Backwards, a qualitative analysis of students' mathematical beliefs through autobiographies. I know it's a mouthful. And it's amazing research. What they did is they looked at the content of the biographies to determine the level and extent of anxiety that was in students. So they were really focusing on the content. We didn't really use their methodology because of that, and they were also a little higher kind of up on the fact-finding, I guess. In contrast, our focus was on the effect, what effect did writing the personal narratives have. The content, though, did enhance our connection. So we were looking at the content, but not for the same reason. Our task was not to develop tools to address the issues raised in the narratives, at least not yet. So, so more existing research. There was another research project that we looked at, and it's Mathematics Anxiety, separating math from the anxiety. And the study explored how anxiety inhibits a student's ability, and it sort of makes sense, it's intuitive. If we're very anxious about something, like I am right now, perfect, that it would inhibit the student's ability to reach their full potential. The anxiety, the studies they did was really an interesting study to read about, because they actually had mappings of the brain when they told students that they were about to do different activities, when they were about to do a math problem. All the parts of the brain that they needed to have access to in order to do that kind of processing, it's almost like those neurons just went, oh, they just ran away. So their study involved that. It was really interesting. We didn't do that. The results of this research have led to further inquiries into the development of tools to reduce or manage the anxiety. But narratives weren't involved in the research, but we thought it still tied into what we were doing. The research methods that we used, we had three classes that we did our research from. Math 250, which is pre-algebra?
I think basic math.
Basic math. Basic math. And we did videotaped interviews with 5 students. Math 201 was a free writing assignment. There were 32 students participated. It was an assigned writing, but we said that it was assigned, but it still was self-selected in that people still choose to do the assignment or not. But it was a population. We did the whole class. And Math 13 was the same thing. Students were asked to write about their relationship with math, to recall previous experiences, positive, negative. It was completely, we didn't want to put judgments on or narrow down what they were writing about too much. We wanted them to be free to write whatever they wanted to write. And then we did a follow-up survey to ask them how they felt about the writing. What was your experience in writing about your relationship with math? Was it good, neutral, or bad? And then we had a space for comments, where if they chose to, they could write any comments. What was surprising? The length of the narratives. I really kind of expected students to just write very little. I just didn't know really if they would get into it, if they'd really like it or what. And I was just blown away by how much they really got into it. It felt to me like it was a bottle that's waiting to be uncorked. You know, people just really want to talk about their experiences and to be supported in what they've experienced and their current feeling. The video, 4 students spoke. They were asked questions, and they spoke for about 5 minutes. One student wasn't even asked questions. He just went on for 12 minutes. Just went on. He had so much to say.
That's cool.
So it was pretty cool. The free writing assignments, we looked at 29%, roughly a third of the class wrote less than a page, which is really what I expected most of the students to do. I told them to write, or we told them to write about a paragraph or 2. And about a little less than half wrote 1 page. About a third of the people wrote and just kept writing and writing and writing. So they wrote more than 1 page. The longest was 4 pages long. So the amount of writing was interesting because of just the amount that people want to be able to express their relationship with math. Write about it, maybe not do it, but write about it.
That's a big first step.
It's a first step, and it's the necessary first step so that we can get beyond it. Indicates a desire or need to express its feelings. So our follow-up results, for the follow-up survey, using the result of the follow-up survey as a measure of the effectiveness of a require either results or follow. Students were asked, what was your experience? And those were the choices again. 43 students participated in that. 53 students said that the experience of writing about their feelings about math was a good positive experience. That was really, that was great. And then 40% were neutral about it, but out of those 40%, 10% wrote positive comments. So they even said that even though it was like they didn't maybe get a lot out of it, they saw potential in getting things out of it. They saw that it was good to have the opportunity to really sit down and think about what their experiences were in math. And I think that, you know, we can all probably attest to, if we write down our feelings about something, it's the first step in processing how we feel and maybe being able to finally move on from it. How did we measure the connections with students? So this is going back to the first questions that we were wondering about. The narratives told of varying degrees of anxiety with math. A lot of anxiety. Anxiety can be a barrier that inhibits our connections with students. If students are afraid of the subject we're teaching, there's a wall right there in us being able to develop a connection with the students. Students reported feeling relaxed after writing. A couple of my students, the demeanor, the atmosphere in the classroom was different after they did the writings, and I asked them about it, and somebody just said, I just feel so relaxed. It was, wow, cool. Let's see, so the writing was enjoyable. Result, narratives do serve, we feel, they do serve to lessen anxiety. They give the students awareness about their feelings in math, and I brought in a quote from Dr. Phil. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So it's like you can't get beyond the anxiety unless you look at it and you write about it, or you look at it and talk about it, express it in some way. The impact of our work is a deepening of our understanding of the contributing factors that help and hinder students. The connections work both ways because we were able to read about who our audience is when we're teaching math. It really did work both ways, so it was really a great experience. Resolutions with it. I could have written less. I am a math instructor. Most students felt that writing personal narratives was a positive experience, and here's a couple of comments that I thought were really great, or that we thought, I keep saying we thought were great. A closer look at what could be a block or opening to my perspective, which is great. Being able to express my fears and anxieties regarding the subject of math allowed me to face the truth, knowing what I need to do to get over my fears of math.
Nice.
Powerful stuff. It wasn't, you know, the students very much took it seriously. Facilitating students' awareness of their own relationship with math has served to lower the walls that block their connection with the subject and with us, their instructors. We will continue the practice of including personal narratives in our classes every semester. I think it's been such a great experience. To have students include their narratives, a description of a day or I want to include this. This is something that was asked during the videos after I assigned my assignment. 10 minutes is up. The chime. Quickly, we're almost done.
Of course. It's just a general guide, so everybody has time. But
Okay. I didn't think I would hear it.
Everybody thought that was their phone and nobody wanted to
my
move.
microphone is.
Okay, what am I talking about? To have students include in their narratives a description of a moment when math really gelled, when they really got it. I think kind of asking students to draw from their experience, not just the general feeling of anxiety and negative feelings, but to focus in on a day when it really gelled, and hopefully that would be a seed that would kind of grow to recall an experience like that. The research that's being done by, I don't know how to say his name, Bielak and Ashcroft, they're actually doing a study to discover the ways to overcome the anxiety. They're looking at different classes of people. Some people who have a disability like dyslexia with math, where they are they're just unable to really do math.
Talking about the short-term memory also.
Yeah, and then they're separating those people from people who do poorly in math because of the anxiety. They can do math, but they just, when they know they're going to walk into a math class, their anxiety takes over and they're unable to function. So if they can lower the anxiety in those people, I think that we'd see a lot better production from them. And so that's what that is too, same thing.
Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have a question. So, like, I really like that idea of having students write about when math gelled, and I'm curious for math instructors, what is that feeling like, or what is that?
What does it mean, the jail thing?
It's like when that aha moment, when you're in math and it's like everything's clicking.
Oh, for for us watching the students?
Well, for you,
feel it-
because I think we need.
Oh, when we do our own math. Well, we've been doing that for so long that I don't know if I remember the gel thing. But when the gel thing happens with the students, you feel the energy in the classroom because there is this moment of you relax, the eyes, you can read it in the eyes. There's this things. This is not this big, huge, complicated things. I don't want to express myself very well, but do you remember your gel?
Yes. You asked the question. Yeah. It feels like just endorphin release. It's just such a. That's way over time.